Chapter 611, Deep into the Mountains. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. The demonic saintess was severely injured by the black market's master. How could this be? Zhang Yuochen's countenance was changed, and his usually unperturbed heart was upset. Without any hesitation, Zhang Yuochen turned around and walked towards the gate, under the Red Wish emissary's surprised gaze. His feet were flying as he rushed out of Sacred Willow Hall in a flash. What did he want to do? The Red Wish emissary knitted her brows, and then she turned into a flash of red light. She chased Zhang Yuochen and stopped him. "Where are you going?" she asked. "I have to go out." Zhang Yuochen's eyes were distant, as if something was on his mind. His exit from Red Willow Heights was certainly related to the demonic saintess. He was too obviously nervous to hide it. How could the Red Wish emissary know that Zhang Yuochen had stayed in Red Willow Heights just to kill Di Yi? How could Di Yi's life be more important than that of senior sister apprentice Duan Mu? The Red Wish emissary felt angry and said, "You're going to save the demonic saintess? Are you from the demon sect?" Zhang Yuochen looked fixedly at the Red Wish emissary and said, "I really want to save the sorceress, but I'm not from the demonic sect." "Your Excellency, this is a private affair, and I hope you won't meddle in my business." Swoosh. Having exhibited rolling thunder skill, Zhang Yuochen turned into a streak of lightning, passed to the Red emissary's left, and rushed out of Red Willow Heights. The Red Wish emissary did not believe that Zhang Yuochen had only seen the sorceress once. She watched his figure recede, feeling quite annoyed. She had personally appointed him as the Great Guardian, trusted, and favored him. How could he abandon her at such a critical moment? Was the sorceress more important than her? The Red Wish emissary clenched her teeth and felt extremely upset. "Your Excellency, the Great Guardian has left a letter." "Let me give it to you." A tall evil cultivator scurried over from the distance, knelt on one knee, and presented her with the letter engraved on jade. She restrained herself immediately, received the jade letter, and began to read it. "If you defend Red Willow Heights, you will suffer defeat at the hands of Di Yi. Only by abandoning the Red Willow Heights will you have the opportunity to take the initiative. Now, I'm going to Godfalling Ridge, not only to save the demonic saintess, but also to cope with the cyan-robed emissary and ice demon. If you straighten out your thinking, you can find me in Godfalling Ridge and help me have the chance to win." After reading the jade letter, the Red Wish emissary closed her eyes and tried to keep calm. She speculated for a long time before opening her eyes and making a decision. "I will believe you once more," she said. Red Wish emissary began to convene people immediately, gathered evil cultivators who were loyal to her, left Red Willow Heights and rushed to Godfalling Ridge. Upon rushing out of Red Willow Heights, Zhang Yuochen mobilized his spiritual power and flew to Godfalling Ridge. It took him only half a day to reach the boundary of Godfalling Ridge. Godfalling Ridge was located in a vast wilderness, with rolling mountains and dense jungles. It stretched thousands of miles. Finding a person was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Zhang Yuochen harnessed heaven and earth spiritual qi. Suspended 10 meters in the air, he closed his eyes and put his hands together. His spiritual power turned into balls of light, rushed out of his body, and flew about 300 miles in all directions. The spiritual power had turned into thousands of eyes, making the surrounding ancient forest clear. Savage beasts, savage birds, humans, fish, and insects appeared in his mind one after another. A moment later, he found traces of a battle. East, 200 miles away. With a swish, he used space moving to disappear. He rushed over at the top speed. Before long, Zhang Yuochen had reached the battlefield 200 miles away. It was in a dense, primitive forest, completely covered by towering trees. Right now, dozens of miles were coated with white frost. It was so cold that trees, flowers, and grass were completely covered with a thick layer of ice. Snap! As he touched the trunk with a finger, a maple tree over 200 feet tall shattered into ice crystals that piled up into an ice hill. What a strong ice chi! Only a 44th level ice master can create such terrible destructive power. Zhang Yuochen gasped in horror and followed the traces of the battle. His heart had been hanging out, but now he became even more nervous. The appearance of the 44th level master was definitely a dangerous signal. From day to night, He had already entered the depths of God-Falling Ridge. Among the mountains, powerful savage beasts could be seen everywhere. They also held towering peaks, poisonous valleys full of miasma, and extremely deep cliffs. It was a boundless, reckless wasteland. Late at night, Zhang Yuochen suddenly felt an abnormal energy fluctuation, so he stopped promptly and landed on top of a steep mountain. Open sky eye. A crack of white light appeared between his eyebrows. Then, a vertical eye emerged and shot a 3-foot white light down to the vast land. Who opened sky eye? A heartless shout rang out from over 30 miles away. A 30-foot-tall Yeti warrior with a war spear taller than he was rode a griffin out of the dark forest. The Yeti, also known as Snow Giant, lived in the northernmost land and had natural, divine power. An adult Yeti warrior had over 50 tons of explosive power, even if he had no martial arts skills. This was actually a human-shaped savage beast. The Yeti warrior in front of him had definitely been practicing martial arts. He wore a suit of white armor and held a war spear as thick as a bowl, with mysterious inscriptions engraved on its surface. Zhang Yuochen looked at Snow Giant with his sky eye and said, "His cultivation has reached the 7th change in the Fish Dragon realm." The Yeti knew that Zhang Yuochen was a master of spiritual power because he could open the sky eye. He did not want to provoke him, so he gently scolded, "The Black Market Excellence Hall is handling affairs here. The land for 1,000 miles around here has been designated as a restricted area. People who are not on black market business are not allowed to enter this area." The name of Black Market Excellence Hall pierced people's ears like thunder. Besides, it was located in the Eastern Evil Land. So, nobody dared to provoke them. Under normal conditions, a trespasser would leave right away. However, Zhang Yuochen did not intend to leave. He asked, "You are from the Black Market Excellence Hall?" "Well, I'm looking for you." Wind and Thunder Finger. Zhang Yuochen struck first. He gathered the strength of Wind and Thunder to his fingertip, and then attacked the Yeti quickly. Zhang Yuochen's idea was to first defeat the Yeti, and then to torture information about senior sister apprentice Duan Mu's whereabouts out of him. Although the Yeti was in the 7th change in the Fish Dragon realm, he had the advantage of physical strength. He was strong enough to fight people a realm higher, reaching the power of the 8th change in the Fish Dragon realm. "You are so bold," the Yeti warrior shouted aloud with a ferocious expression. He stretched his arm back and hurled his spear. The inscriptions on the spear gave off blue light, which whirled around it, giving off ice chi and blocking the power of Zhang Yuochen's Wind and Thunder Finger. Zhang Yuochen did not meet the Yeti head-on. He moved like lightning, flashing quickly, and changing his position to appear near his opponent. Ninefold lightning knife. He waved forward, forming 9 beams of lighting arcs which were knife-shaped and 30 feet long. The lightning beams were like waves, moving towards Snowman Warrior layer by layer and hitting his neck. The Snowman Warrior was startled. He erected the spear immediately and then blocked himself to resist the spells played by Zhang Yuochen. Rumble. With 9 lightning knives, the force had been continuously enhanced, penetrated the Yeti's holy light and vigorous chi at last. The last electric knife struck his body and made a squeaky sound, leaving a scorched scar. The Yeti made a muffled sound with a burning pain in his chest. The blood rushed out of his throat and squirted out of his mouth. When he stabilized his body and was about to strike back, a dazzling purple light appeared in front of his eyes. Cucumber-shaped lightning came out of Zhang Yuochen's fingertips. The other side pointed between the Yeti's eyes. If Zhang Yuochen stepped just 1 foot forward, his head would be pierced. The Yeti did not dare to move, and he only stared at Zhang Yuochen, saying, "If you fight the Black Market Excellence Hall, it won't end well for you." The Black Market Excellence Hall cannot be an absolute monarch. Zhang Yuochen floated in thin air like a handsome, young god of thunder. He looked at the Yeti warrior in disdain and asked, "Where is the sorceress? Tell me, or else you will die." The Yeti did not answer Zhang Yuochen. He looked to the northeast and withdrew his eyes immediately. Zhang Yuochen certainly noticed his eyes change, so he released his spiritual power and probed towards the northeast. Swoosh! In the northeast, black smoke rose quickly from the bottom of a valley and straight to the sky, condensing into a black figure. This man's whole body was covered in a black robe. He stood on white frost, hovering in the air the same height as Zhang Yuochen. Junior, you should not have come here. If you release this savage elemental creature, I will spare your life and let you go. The black-robed man's face was veiled with a hood, showing only two blue fires for eyes. When the man in black appeared, the air had become extremely cold and it had started snowing. A cold draft came straight ahead, making Zhang Yuochen feel stressed. Zhang Yuochen thought the black-robed man opposite him was like a soaring, snow-capped mountain, which was so cold and lofty that he could hardly breathe.